What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be giving you all the reasons why you shouldn't own a Crown Victoria. Now, honestly, this video was kind of difficult to make because they're really a great car to have, and there's really no reason why you shouldn't buy one, but I mean, there are pros and cons to everything, and you know, Crown Vics are no exception. There are cons to owning it, so I mean, one, it's got a V8. It's a smaller block V8. It's not that bad on gas. We'll get more into it, but they're not exactly a four-cylinder either. Wheel-wheel drive. If you drive in the snow, forget about it. They're overall just really big cars. You know, you drive through the city. You know, it's going to be difficult to navigate compared to something like a Prius or like a Corolla or something. And you know, there are some common issues that come along with them. Not too bad, but there are some things you're going to have to do. So, one, V8. You know, the MPG isn't too bad on them. I think the most I ever got was 20, and that was doing like 75, 80 down the parkway. So, I mean, that's a pretty decent speed. I've seen online some guy got up to like 27 one time, but he was like hyper milling, and he was like tailgating behind like semi trucks and buses and stuff. I mean, completely dangerous, but you can get 27 miles to the gallon on them. Average, if you drive around 60 to 70, around that speed area, maybe get 24 or something like that, 23. So, I mean, they're not awful, but you know, there's cars out there that make 40 miles to the gallon. There's cars that are like double the, you know, MPG compared to these. But for V8, they're not bad. I mean, there's other V8s out there. Like, I know the, what the hell is it? Like the Nissan Armando or whatever, or Armanda, whatever the hell it's called. I don't even know. But I know, like, it's got a V8. It gets like 9 miles to the gallon or something. It's like absolutely pathetic. So, I mean, if you're looking for a super fuel efficient car, I mean, you're not really going to find it here. If you're looking for something that's decent on fuel, you know, yeah, then go for it. You know, it's not that big a deal, but so, I mean, that is one con. They're not the most fuel efficient. The rear-wheel drive. Even if your tires are slightly bald or getting old, you're going to slide out. Maybe not when it's, you know, nice weather out like today. But if it's raining, snow, anything like that, I mean, any type of weather conditions besides sunny or, you know, just nighttime, then you're going to have issues where you're, you know, sliding out or whatever. I even slide out sometimes with, you know, my car, especially in the snow. I have the factory tires, RSAs on them, which they suck. They're not good tires. But, the rain, they're okay. I usually slide out like I'm, you know, purposely trying to slide out. But there's been times where I wasn't expecting the rear end to come out. I could feel it like starting to come out on me. It's not that bad though. The main problem is really the snow. Driving around in the snow, forget about it. You have an inch of snow and your car's going nowhere. If you buy snow tires, obviously it's going to help. But even so, they're not going to be as good as a front-wheel drive vehicle unless you put chains on it. If you put chains on it, then yeah, you'll be able to pretty much drive through anything. But the overall just hassle of it, it's just a pain in the ass. If you're looking for something you want to drive in there, like if you live in Canada or something, you're going to drive through the snow all the time. Nah, it's not really the best car to buy. You're probably better off with an all-wheel drive or full-wheel drive anyway. But rear-wheel drive is going to be your worst bet compared to front-wheel drive. Another thing about them is they're big. I mean, I don't know exactly how long they are. I don't think I've ever measured it. But, they're pretty big cars. I mean, compared to other cars out there, they're definitely a full-size sedan. And, like, the new cars coming out that are full-size sedans are not as big as that. So, they're pretty big. So if you live in, like, a city, any type of crowded area, you know, it's going to be a little more difficult to navigate compared to something that's smaller. You know, like a little Civic or like a Focus or something. But I mean, they're not huge. I'd say they're like the size of like a pickup truck with like a short bed and like a regular cab. So they're probably like the same size as that, which isn't crazy long, but for a car, it's a pretty decent length. So if you're looking for something that, you don't want something too big, or you live in a city area, keep that in mind that it's pretty big, and it's also wide too. You sit in a, like my grandma's got a Buick Verano. You sit in that, it's not cramped, but you see the size difference between going in between that and then going to my car. You see the width wise how much larger it is, especially the hood. The hood's just like real long. When you back up, you got a lot of, you got to try to judge where your bumper's at. When I first got it, it took me a little while getting used to. It wasn't that bad, but sometimes it can still be a pain in the ass driving around. I've taken it to Philly a couple times. It wasn't awful, but it would have been easier if I had a smaller car. So, I mean, just things like that, just keep in mind, you know what I mean? Like, they are a little bit bigger, so that's going to be one of the things that you're going to have to deal with. So, I mean, if you're, a woman looking for one, women don't usually want bigger cars. They want something smaller, economical, you know what I mean? It's more of a guy car over anything else, but, and there are some issues that come along with them, too. One of the biggest issues is the intake manifold. It's going to go, no matter what. It's either going to go with age or with mileage. Mine just went with age because my car's from '04. And I only had like a little over 100K when it went. There's been people out there that got like 200K before they went, so mine more or less went with age and did with miles. But I mean, that's another thing that your car, you're probably going to have to do. If you get the police interceptor, I mean, let's be honest, it's a police car. Things are going to be worn out depending on what the car is used for. You're going to have to replace things. If you just get a regular civilian Crown Vic, or you get a Lincoln Town car, something like that, you're not going to have to really do too much. I mean, I heard the fuel pumps go bad in them. I don't know, I haven't had any fuel pump problems, but I have heard that is kind of an issue. So I guess there's really too many common problems. I guess all the problems are really going to be with the police interceptors. If you don't get a police interceptor, then you should be alright. But your intake manifold's going to go no matter if you have a police interceptor or civilian, Grand Marquis, whatever. You're going to have problems no matter what you do. So let's just keep that in mind. You're going to have to replace that. I think it cost me like $800 to replace, which isn't crazy. I mean, it's not like a crazy number, but if you're like dirt poor and need a car like, to get you from point A to point B, and that's it, like, $800 is going to be a lot of money. So, I mean, there are a few things you want to just keep in mind, I mean, they're great cars. It's honestly really hard for me to make this video because a lot of these things on this list, you could make for a pro, honestly. It's V8. I'm glad it's a V8. I absolutely love the sound of it. I like the way it pulls. I love that it's a V8. But I'm looking at this more of like an economical, practical kind of sense. You know what I mean? A V8 isn't really practical. A 4-cylinder is more practical than a V8. So, I mean, I love the fact that it's rear-wheel drive. I absolutely love, like, when it snows out, I can, like, do donuts. I can, drift around town, whatever. Same when it rains out. When it rains, I like to drift around a little bit. But, once again, I'm looking at this from, like, an economical, practical standpoint that, you don't need to be drifting around and messing around. You just need to get from work, go pick up the kids, but whatever you got to do in your life. So I mean, big. Personally, another thing, I'm glad that it's big. I like the fact that it's roomy. I like having a big car. It makes me feel nice and like I feel like I own the road in like a bigger car. So when you're in something small, I just feel like you're kind of like you're in everyone's way, So, I mean, obviously I don't like the problems with them, but that just comes along with it. But, I mean, there are cons to owning, any type of, Panther car. You can either look at it like I am, that these are actually a good thing. But if you want to look at it practical and, technically how you should buy a car, then, yeah, these aren't really good things. These are definitely what makes the car its weaker points. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really have too much on it. I don't really know all the common problems. I do know, like, my rims, they rust out. But that's for the police interceptors. I know they had a problem with the lighting control module. That's, like, the earlier ones. Not early ones, but, like, I think, like, O2's, the 5. I think. I don't remember all the years, but they had the LCM problems. I had to get mine rebuilt. What else is there? The steering racks on the 03s, I believe, the early ones, they rust out. But you're not going to run into that problem. I'm pretty sure they all got like warranty repaired by now. It all happened for like 10,000 miles of the car is being purchased. So, but for the most part, you know, there are some drawbacks to owning it. For me, not really, because like I said, I like all the things on the list. That's the reason why I bought the car. But, you know, if you don't want to be drifting around in the snow, or, you know, you don't have to worry about your rear end sliding out when it rains out or whatever, and, you know, you want to get phenomenal gas mileage, get 40 miles to the gallon plus, you know what I mean, then it's not going to be a car for you. You know, get something smaller. Get like get old Honda Insights. Those things get like 60 miles to the gallon. Those cars are like incredible. You know, so if you're looking for fuel, like extreme fuel mileage, stuff like that, don't get it. It's not going to be for you. So, I mean, any questions, comments, just let me know. I'll be happy to answer anything. And, adios.